magical micro distinctions and frictionlessness that free exponential abundance in your money, time, and magic. Now, if you're new, you're like, whoa, did this guy just make up some words? Yes and no. It's a formula. It's called integrity-based human influence. And every single day, over 400 times, we've been here Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 8:45, sometimes 9, 8:45. And we come here to gather. We come here to anchor. It's the best way to start your day with a daily dose of integrity-based human influence. And I'm so grateful. Thank you. Wherever you are in the world, whatever time zone you're in, like you're here. And from Unblinded, from us, thank you so much for being here, whether it's your 200th time, whether it's your first time, whether you know what you're seeking, the clarity you're seeking on this call, or if you're here, tuning in, walking on the treadmill, wherever you are in the world, super grateful for you to be here. And every day is like an aim. And today's Why Wednesday. So as we step in to Why Wednesday, and it's an energy of self-mastery, of love, of discovering your why. Where are you? And like in discussing your why. And what's your why for you? And as we engage in the chat, which is a beautiful opportunity to continue to rise your heroic, unique identity, like what's your why for you? Is it love? Is it friends? Is it, cars? Is it legacy? Is it books, pens? Is it surfing, mountain climbing, triathlons, kids, dads, moms? Like, what's your why? What's one word that would describe your why today? It doesn't have to be your ultimate why. What's your why today as you step into this beautiful Why Wednesday and we anchor in here together? So I'm grateful for everything that's conspiring, happening within Unblinded. So many speaking engagements, so many different human beings. It is utterly remarkable. Being on the mastery call this morning, hearing new voices, grateful for individuals merging together, growing the Unblinded movement. We're literally filling events. We're literally filling events as a movement organically. And that's because of every single one of you and the ecosystem mergers that are happening and that are present here. So listen, we're going to be dropping into a few different things today. And we have an amazing speaker, which I'm not like, her name's Nita. That's all I'm going to say. But I'm looking forward to introducing you to her in a few moments. We'll let Mr. Callagy hop in and share, what's present for him. But in those conversations, it's been utterly remarkable what I've seen in Nita's development and the development within the movement, what she's done in the world. And I'm so looking forward to you hearing her story, hearing what's been happening and having some fun because Nita's a beautiful soul. And man, I know that Nita has to be fun. So I'm looking forward to that. And I see some flutter out in the Callagy screen. Sean, you out here with us?
Yes. What's up, bud? How are you?
What's up, man?
All right. Everything good?
Everything is good. We're here. We're living. We're tuned in to Why Wednesday, and we're stepping into the morning huddle. What's happening with you?
Yeah. Just awesomeness and fun in the air. The ocean is angry this morning, to be
and
sure.
By the way, Sean, just your camera's closed at the moment.
Yes. That will be closed on purpose.
Understood.
As I actually put some clothes on Fernando. So that's exactly what is occurring.
I turned it on to make things faster, but I'm like, video.
Yeah, that is literally.
Well, we are stepping into reality, folks.
We're always stepping into integrity and reality. So
that is reality.
Out of the outdoor shower. And there was sea lice today, which was unpleasant. So forgive my moment or two delay. The itchiness of sea lice, don't think that it's like lice. They wash off in 2 seconds, but it is a fundamentally unpleasant and uncomfortable moment in the morning. So good morning to everybody and happy Why Wednesday. The why was, yes, get sea lice off body in outdoor shower. Thank you. So good morning to everybody. And so let's drop in for a couple of amazing moments, and then we'll bring Nita up. So we've been talking a lot about, for those that are in mastery and in our one-on-one work, we've been talking a lot about the dynamic of the 7 levers, right? Ecosystem merging, speaking engagement, sales meeting sales, disposable income, contribution, revenue, and fun and magic. And that's the deal. And how influence mastery is the actualization mechanism, as well as your self-mastery, and the 4 steps, 10 indispensable elements, 4 energies. And so, that's what is. for the acceleration of money, time, magic, for the scaling of business, etc. What I want to focus on just for a minute on Why Wednesday is our why and how it connects to where we are deleting and diluting energy and time, right? And so that said, let's play with some of that and step into it and bring it about by having Nita come up. So Nita, how are you this morning?
I'm fantastic, Sean. How are you doing today?
I am doing fantastic, Nita. I would say just good, but we have no time for that joke. Nita and I have a fun ongoing dynamic of like, there is no good. And is a drop in on that for a split second. Yeah, like our energy is a resource that we need to have. So there was 3 hours of beautiful innovations occurring starting at 5:30 this morning in my world. So it's like, but I'm committed to getting in the ocean, and the waves are totally insane. It's crazy. Not actually particularly fun. It's like turbulent washing machine. It's like not optimal, but there's like energy that is created. There's disruption into the pattern of like thinking, creating, and it's a total state shift in just like nanoseconds. So similarly, when somebody asks you how you are, like, how are you doing, right? When we answer good, it does something. Like, and let's just try that today. Try 3 different things today in this space. And then we're gonna get into dilution in a second. All right, 3 different things. 1, when somebody says, how are you? Say good, or even practice yourself. Like picture somebody saying, how are you? Say to yourself, hey, Frando, how are you? Say, good. And see how that feels. Then say something that you don't feel. Like, so let's say you actually just do feel good. Let's say somebody says, how are you? And your response is great, but you don't feel great. And so it's inauthentic, and feel that inauthenticity, okay? But there's a third way that we're proposing and offering, right? And it's access to a check-in with people and yourself. So every time somebody says, how are you? It's not that we're gonna just say what is good. Okay, right? It's not that we're gonna lie. But what it is it's a micro distinction check-in for how you can heart-centeredly, self-mastery disruption, connect to that you're great or fantastic or magical. By in a split second, remembering, oh yeah, like I didn't have to like hunt my food today. And oh yeah, like I had a pillow. Like, oh yeah, I can see. Oh, I can't see. Well, I can hear. Well, I can't see or hear, but I can walk. Like, I don't have a lot of money, but yeah, I still have a place to live and food to eat. And if I don't have food to eat, I know resources that can provide where I can get food to eat. And that's not any of us on here, but that's taking this all the way out to its logical conclusion. Every single person on here has a massive abundance, and we just get disconnected from it. So the point is in that nanosecond, hey, like, how are you? It's that reconnection for a split second to that reality, the truth of what is. The truth isn't that our lives are perfect. The truth isn't that we have the absence of any things that would be different from our preferences. Like, we all have things different from our preferences, which we could define as problems, horrors, terrible things, right? And by the way, I'm not talking about a unique time frame. I'm not talking about a unique time frame when you're in mourning or dealing with something truly traumatic, right? I'm not saying to not experience our emotions. And when we're going through those periods, yeah, like we are the hugest advocates of leaning in and fully experiencing our sadness, our anger, our frustration. You know, the question is how do we want to condition ourselves to be healthy? How do we want to condition ourselves to be healthy, right? And the question is how you determine it intentionally. Like, determine your conditioning intentionally and keep asking, like, how does this serve me? And so, for example, if we're in mourning, how does it serve me to like step into our feelings is we need to process through things and to feel them. And if we lose somebody and we don't, like, we may be cutting off some of the magic of being human and like love and feelings. And or we may be elongating massively things. And like, so for a potential example of that would be, and all this is like how you are. Like we've opened up all distinctions and just how you are and all that's underneath it. And the answer could be that, yeah, like sometimes I go into my grandparents' house and I cry because I want to remember them and honor them. And somebody might say, well, that's a little bit too much if you do it, more than 4 times a year. I don't know. Like, but most times I go in, I miss the moment, which I allow myself to feel. And then I remember all the magical times. And then I remember all the things that they wanted from my life. And that feels best for me, right? And so I'll connect to like that piece. It'll energize me, it'll inspire me. I'll keep carrying their legacy forward. It feels amazing. So it's intentionality. That's the point. And so when people say, how are you? It's not diluting it and staying wherever you are by happenstance. It's not lying. It's third, getting into the place that you consistently want to be in. What's your baseline? Like the baseline I want to be is magical. The baseline I want to be is fantastic. The baseline I want to be is great. Like, yeah, I want to feel great. I want to feel magical. I want to feel elated. I want to feel excited about life. What's your baseline? And then when people say, how are you? Right? Process through and remember, like connect to, yeah, that I am fantastic. And Nita, I'm super proud of you because you've gone through this exercise and you're responding fantastic. And my quick question check-in is, do you really feel fantastic?
Yes, because I'm excited to be here this morning, and it is also for me a way to get my energy up. And I'm also committed to leaving other people more energized after they meet with me than they were before. So I've got to share that.
No, awesome. And so what are you up to in the world? Let's, many know you, many don't. So what are you up for in the world? Like, where are you from? Let's do like real raw introduction type. Where you're from, what are you up to in the world? Quick fun fact.
So I'm from Colombo, Sri Lanka. I'm of Indian ethnicity, Sindhi particularly, if anyone knows. And I am in Hackensack, New Jersey, and I practice immigration law and as a solo practitioner. So I'm paving the pathway to my client's American dream in every case possible.
That is outstanding. And why does that matter to you?
Because I'm an immigrant myself, and my process back so many years ago was relatively smooth, really simple. There was nothing. It was the climate, the political climate, the immigration, some of the ideas about immigration were not as negative as they were back then, and it was easy for me. And when I see my clients and struggling, it's really important for me to be able to help them and serve them.
Yeah, super cool. And so thank you for that. And thank you for standing for what you believe in, supporting people and achieving their American dream. Now for you, what is it that, like, when you hear the formula, and the purpose, by the way, the outcome for the group of having people come on is for all of us to hear through the listening and the prism of others, access points that we can learn from. And it also supports us in understanding like what people are thinking and what's happening. So when you hear, let's do it this way. When you first heard, never heard of it before, like of the formula or integrity-based human influence, what was your initial first reaction?
Wow.
Okay. So you didn't have skepticism. You weren't like, you were like, wow, like, and wow, what? Like, please fill in the blanks underneath.
Well, so for me, I have never engaged in any personal development. And for me, it was all brand new to hear. It was very uplifting. If I was in a negative space at that time, which happens quite often, it gave me some hope that I could change things around, and there was a way, there was a pathway, there was a science and an art. So it was very exciting to hear it, and I was very intrigued. So I'm going, wow. And then I think, Sean, day 2, if I may, I put down on a piece of paper, is this the day that changed my life? And that was January 11th, 2020. And I sit here and say, it's been a tremendous growth for me. Seriously, I can't tell you how much.
Yeah, thank you. And again, Nita and I did not prepare anything. This is, in all these conversations, it's like this flowing, ness into this space. I had no idea that was a fact, and I had no idea Nita was going to say that. So thank you, Nita.
Thank you for asking, Sean.
Yeah, and so as you sit in today's space, right, and you hear about the seven levers like ecosystem. Actually, no, let's not go today. Let's go 2 months back, right? And you would hear about ecosystem merging, speaking engagements, like what wasn't nearly as clear then as it is now. And the reason I'm asking is because there could be people out there that hear words and might think that they're just fancy ways of saying something for like the purpose of branding. So I'm curious as to like where you were, let's say 2 months ago, when you'd hear like ecosystem merging, speaking engagement, sales meeting, sales, like you'd hear those phrases, what they meant to you then versus what they mean to you now. And it could be the exact same thing. So please.
So I think it was back then, trying to understand it was a little bit, there was some wonder whether I was capable of doing that. As much as I'm an attorney and I've been a litigator, in spite of that, the personal development aspect of it, I really needed to grow with my self-mastery. So there was a question whether I was capable of understanding and doing these things. Even if I understood the words, the concepts, doing was a whole different exercise. And I think it really came to fruition for me on Monday when I did my Real Raw Open. It went very smoothly, and I know, Sean, you thought it was very good too. So
Yeah.
it was, for me, it was like riding a bicycle. First, you don't know, you wonder, can you, like driving? Oh, I'll never be able to drive, and then I can drive like a maniac. So,
so could I drop in and say, yeah, you followed, you and Hala followed and delivered a top 1% at this juncture, Railroad Open. It was outstanding. You had people that made sense, almost all geographically, made sense in the verticals, and could help each other. And I think the refinement and advancement of that will only continue, right? Because there's a big difference between top 1% and top 0.1%. And again, when I use these numbers, guys, it's not exact. So maybe it was a top 4%. Like it was excellent, right? Excellent. And then the micro distinctions make it exponentially more. And so always anchoring on the huddles, like wherever we are, we're the next micro distinction away from like the next exponential jump. And there's a good amount of people that would know Oprah Winfrey or the work of, let's say, Barack Obama, Tony Robbins, Donald Trump, like 4 different people, very different people in many ways. But Barack Obama went from relative obscurity and had a micro distinction, which is called like the internet, and creating leverage on it. And then creating micro distinctions inside of micro distinctions inside of micro distinctions, and built a massive movement behind him that led him to the presidency. And so things happen for people in micro distinction ways and jumps. And he was already a great speaker. He was persuasive. He had so many people believed in him and loved him. It was just a small group of people. And in like no time flat, by adding in a number of micro distinctions, it grew exponentially. Tony Robbins was, I don't agree with this statement, because I'm sure Tony would have figured out a different way. But I was in a program that I paid $10,000 to go to for one day with a company called GKIC back a few years ago. This is the world of Dan Kennedy and other people. And in that day, the person who was instructing said to me, and it was like a 10-person max, one day, $10,000 program. And it was all about creating information, products, and things online, et cetera, right? And so this person said, and it was in a different context, but said that if it wasn't for Guthrie Ranker Corp, Tony Robbins would still be doing seminars in a Holiday Inn. Now, I completely disagree with that statement, right? But what I resonate with about the statement is like Guthrie Ranker Corp for Tony Robbins was a brilliant innovation, like a micro distinction in ecosystem merging. I feel like, who's Guthrie Ranker Corp? Guthrie-Renker Corp was an entity that did infomercials. And so they paid and they partnered with Tony to take his wisdom, his genius, his brilliance, his personal power program to the world. And Tony tells the story as events of his brilliant negotiations with them to get a fair deal for him because of what their normalized way of doing it, their normalized way of ecosystem merging, they were at like a default no for him. And he used his brilliance, and it took time to create an unbelievably effective, integrous agreement with them that led to just the world exploding. Now, right? Now, you're Tony Robbins, right? And just track this. And you're teaching people around the world. You've already worked with Bill Clinton. You're a genius. You're everywhere. Like, what more could you possibly learn or do? What micro distinctions could be available at that level when you're already one of the most famous personal development speaker in history, arguably invented coaching, right? And you're there. Well, then he realized, like, wow, I could write a financial book, interview all these incredible people, which is his book, Money Master the Game. And I could make like, I'm Not Your Guru. And those things combined completely changed the trajectory of how many people are in Platinum Partnership, which is, about $100,000 program, like gigantically expanded his reach because of the financial book and I'm Not Your Guru. So two micro distinctions, which created speaking engagements. The book was a speaking engagement. The interviews with these people in the book was a speaking engagement. I'm Not Your Guru was a speaking engagement on Netflix, right? And the micro distinctions and speaking engagements expanded insanely his sales meetings and sales. And we could do the same thing for how Donald Trump became president, the same thing from how Oprah went from a local TV personality or a news personality to or local personality to the world. And the key distinction is, Nita, great job, and everybody, like great job on Monday, great job in everything you're doing. And there's like this magical world of micro distinctions sitting inside of the success you had on Monday to now replicate and expand. So Nita, tell me about what you're hearing and how that resonates.
So the thought that those little micro distinctions can make such exponential differences is still hard to believe that it can actually happen like that for me, or I think for anyone person to see it actually happen, I think makes it real. But it's hard to imagine. But I've watched other people and seen it happen for them. So I expect they too might, really understand it when it happens. But it is quite astonishing to see subtle changes make so much difference.
Yeah. So now let's step in. Thank you. And this is the purpose of this exchange. Thank you for your candor. Right. Amazing. So you've seen it happen with Unblinded, though.
Correct.
And witnessed it, right?
Correct.
And I will share with you that it's exactly what happened for Rob Gill, right? To go from 8 to 150 meetings, but first he went from 8 to 25. And that, I think that's the key takeaway. Like when I built Callagy Law, started my credit card, quit my job at a major New Jersey law firm. The story I tell often, right? But that's the actualization of all of this coming together to begin with, right? That's the 1.0 version of this. I did and experienced it, which, by the way, I don't say this often, which is a very unique distinction about what we're talking about here. Very few people have ever stepped into the space of personal development, coaching, and training have literally taught people to do exactly what they did and why. And that's what this is. So this isn't like I read in a book, like I actually did it, right? And I was committed to building my first law firm, Callagy Law, and doing it myself first before I ever taught anybody else to do it. And then repeating it and doing it not only in the law, then I did it in the space of building a training coaching company, I did it law again, and I did it in sub distinctions in the law. So I just want that for those that haven't been here before, this isn't something like I read in a book. This isn't something I was inspired and became a motivational speaker. I was committed to teaching people how to make more money in less time with more magic and doing it myself first. So, right, I just share that with you as an anchor for anybody that's new. Most of you know that. So, and leaning into that point, like, that's what happened for me, Nita. Like, I didn't go from obscurity to president. Like, I went from having no money to making like $10,000 a month. And then 4 months later, I was making 20. And then 2 months later, I was making 40, right? And then I made $100,000 in a month. Maybe I don't remember the exact number of months later, right? And then I bought a beach house, like, and all that happened in a year, And so I'm simply saying that, yes, it may be overwhelmingly incomprehensible to go from like obscurity to Oprah, to go from, state, congressperson to president, like relative obscure congressperson to president, to go from, being to be successful as Tony Robbins was already, and having, let's say, I'll make up numbers, I don't know the numbers exactly, but maybe 100 platinum partners, and in a short couple of years, all of a sudden have like 500 or more platinum partners. Again, don't know either of the numbers exactly, but it was like that. So I illustrate Tony Robbins in that way to illustrate that you could be world-class, phenomenal, and totally unbelievable and make a few screw turns and boom. And he talks about the same thing in his coaching company. He went from it being like $200,000 a year profitable over the course of, I'm gonna make up the number, 3 or 4 years, to being like $20 million plus a year profitable-ish with micro distinctions. So, and we could tell these stories for Facebook. We could tell these stories for every successful lawyer, accountant, financial services provider, I'm just using those people as examples because they're there. And I experienced it over and over again. And it's in the 7 levers. Because if you don't have an ecosystem merger and you don't have speaking engagements, your sales meetings are going to be really difficult to make them grow, right? Really difficult. But when you put each of those in, like 3 ecosystem mergers needed for you, right? Equal in 15 speaking engagements a month for you, translate from, X number of new client appointments to 5X or 10X new number of client appointments. So in those terms, does the math seem a lot more understandable than going from the math of that? Like the math of you triple your ecosystem mergers, you do 10 or 15 speaking engagements a month, and that translates into you're increasing your sales meetings per month by 5X. Does that seem a lot more attainable and digestible?
Yes. Yeah. It's progression. Progression step by step.
But the step-by-step progression, right? Yes, agreed, can have major jumps, jumps, major jumps in a much shorter period of time. Like the growth, this is the key distinction for everybody. The growth isn't linear. Like Tony Robbins in writing that book and doing I'm Not Your Guru didn't increase by 10%. Like he explosively grew. Like he made a major trajectory shift. Like he was famous and he got exponentially more famous through I'm Not Your Guru. He was seen as a motivational speaker, but then he ends up on the cover of Forbes as the CEO whisperer and writes a book with like the most brilliant financial geniuses everywhere. So even though he had worked with presidents, financial people may not have taken him nearly for the master that he is, but he wrote the book and now he was, right? Does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah.
And so my question challenge for you, right, Nita, and for everybody is, and let's play it out through Nita. What are you committed to in the next 60 days? So I want to bring you back. Like, and this is a fun game we're going to start playing, like 60 days from today. Like, let's bring Nita back on November 2nd, right? And if you're up for this, like don't have to, but what are you up for creating in terms of ecosystem mergers and speaking engagement? Let's just go ecosystem mergers over this next 60 days. Like what are you committed to creating?
To grow my immigration practice particularly and go into different areas compared to what I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
So I need to find the right partners to ecosystem merge with. So that would be investors, foreign nationals wanting to work in the United States or live in the United States. So there are a number of options. So that would be one goal.
Let's pause on that one. Let's pause on that one. Ready? Now watch the fun of why for most people, exponential acceleration is a dream that might fall out of the sky someday, which of course never will. versus a reality. Okay. So foreign investors, foreign national, like, right. Got it. Right now in Nita's schedule for this week, how much time is time blocked to find those people?
Nothing.
Right. So how wonderful. Nita, we have a breakthrough. Exponential acceleration is on the way. Because what would be the difference between 0 time and 1 hour of time per week?
It gets done. Something gets done. There's action taken, zone action, as you like to call it.
Here's the question. Here's the question.
Mhm.
The difference between 0 and 1 is a math equation, and the answer is infinite. Like it becomes, there's no number you can multiply times 0 to
Mhm.
get to 1, right?
Right.
So the distinction that comes out of today is, Nita, just time block an hour this week. And you go, I don't know what to do. You just said you know what to do. Of course you do, right? You know what to do. You're going to start reaching out to people who might know people in an hour. And then you're going to have more knowledge, and your knowledge would have grown exponentially. And then you're going to go, okay, I'm now more clear. And then we have our coaching sessions. We have our group coaching, right? Now I'm more clear. And it's like, okay, I get even more clear there. And then I'm going to expand it to calling some of these people. And I'm going to innovate, not call these, call others. And then I'm going to realize that, oh, my influence mastery needs to improve to merge ecosystems with these people because I need an irresistible offer. Okay, so that comes in. I need my heroic unique identity to be tweaked slightly. Got it. Now it grows again. And now all of a sudden, we're on the verge of 5 of them because I've kept my time blocking in. Nita's kept her time blocking in. She's on the verge of 5 of them saying yes to an ecosystem merger. And then 2 of them disappear, never call her back. Like, wow, that stinks. Like, what happened? Not sure. We'll evaluate. 2 of them say no, and 1 says yes. And now you're in an infinitely different place than you were, and rinse and repeat.
Right.
But it's clear. Like, there's a clear path to what you're asking them to do. You have an ecosystem merger clarity. It's happening. It's present. Exponential growth is transpiring. So, and then speaking engagements, access to their worlds, acceleration of sales, meeting sales. And now 6 months from now, Nita's like, yeah, everybody looks at Nita and goes, wow, Nita, that's incredible. You're so lucky. How did all that happen? That's incredible. Like, wait, like, wow, how'd you get so lucky? And you just sit inside yourself and go, right? That's all it is. So Nita, final. What are your takeaways from today? And what are you up to? What are your takeaways from today? And yeah, I'm going to ask this. If somebody's like, hey, should I get involved with all this unblinded stuff? What would you say?
Absolutely. I've shared a couple small things that happened to me right from the beginning. And I think I'm certain that my initial outcome of Unblinded before I've understood the formula was so powerful that it has certainly made other people want to join, people I've talked to.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And so, but what are your takeaways from today? Like, what got clarified today or cemented more deeply from
that I have to time block, that I've got to ecosystem merge, and I'm going to start the extras speaking engagements.
Awesome. And like, if that doesn't show up in your time block, you wasted your time today.
Mm-hmm.
It was just a little bit of fun. And right. And as a leader, right, in the unblinded movement, you would have harmed people's belief. Like, that's a real thing. Like, if I don't keep doing what I'm doing, if you don't keep doing what you're doing, we all keep doing what we're doing, we're harming the credibility of what we're doing. So like, and that's not an expectation of mine for you, but that's an opportunity as a leader. So like, be like, it's not just for, and by the way, that helps me leverage myself forward every day. When I don't feel like getting up, right? Because I don't, like, I'm getting up early enough and staying up late enough, or I don't feel like getting up when the phone rings and it's Fernando at 5:30. I don't feel like answering, right? And I rationalize, go, well, I'm not going to be as productive. Maybe I should skip today. Like, all those things start going through my head, right? But I realize I have responsibility, not only to him, Adam, the entire Unblinded team, but to every single one of you, to be an example of what this is and what's possible. And if we're not growing and we're not accelerating, then I'm not being the leader that I claim to be, want to be, and committed to being for people. And I'd offer you the same thing, Nita, that
Yes.
like from today on, and each of you from today on, be the leader for all the people around you that want to create acceleration in their life, in their money, in their time, their magic, not transformation, not transformation. We don't need to be transformed. We just simply need to free up in simple, fun, and magical ways, free up what's inside of us, develop it a little bit, put some neuro connections together, right? And accelerate and make magic. So Nita, thank you. Beautiful day and happy Y Wednesday to you. Fernando, quick final.
Thank you, Sean. Thank you.
And Sean,
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you,
thank
Nita.
you,
By the way,
Sean.
Nita, how do people
Sean, it's
find
Adam.
you?
I want one.
Wait,
I want one
real quick.
statement
I'm
before
sorry,
we
Adam,
go
real
through.
quick. Nita,
Yep.
how do people find you? Immigration needs, they want to connect with you, learn more about you. How do people find Nita?
Law Office of Nita Kundanmal. I'm in Hackensack. nkesq.com is the website.
All right, Nita, awesome job. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Adam.
I have one statement. You haven't asked me in a while what I'm present to. What I'm
Yeah.
present to right at this moment is that this was $1 million huddle.
Well, thank you, brother. And I'm going to say this to you, Adam. Jump in, cut in at all times, just like you just did, right? Because those insights are huge. And what made it $1 million huddle for you?
It's like I already had clarity on the micro distinctions that can have exponential acceleration, but the way you distilled it down today with the examples that you used, and obviously bringing in Nita, just gave more clarity. And every time I think and believe that I don't need any real more clarity at that moment, I get more and I start to think about what we're doing. And yeah, I mean, there's so many micro distinctions that I'm now focused on. I feel so present to us being in that moment of making those small changes. And yeah, but not just $1 million huddle for me. And for sure, it's probably a $10 million huddle for me. But for everybody out there who is listening to this call, I believe if you are unblinded to what you're up to in the world, this could be worth $1 million to you with execution.
Easily. Thank you, brother. Fernando, final.
Everyone, don't blink. This is magic. This is what it looks like. Thank you, Adam Gugino. Love your voice. And just to anchor on that, every single day I listen to Sean. Every single day I have notes. They're called stars and boxes in my notebook. Sean, thousands of them. Every day I got one. Today, just because of my depth in listening, I came up with a distinction on Team Bolt, the 10 by 10, how to incubate and support other leaders. That's where my mind went because of the conversation on micro distinctions. And that's a micro distinction on a micro distinction on a vertical innovation. I love y'all. Thank you. It's Y Wednesday. Back to you, Sean.
Yeah, fine. Ready? Don't get overwhelmed. It's easy. It's not about more. It's about making things less, and doing different things that are much more valuable. And so the next time you have somebody who's like, hey, can I talk to you? It's like the 7th time you're talking to them and they're complaining about their husband or their wife, right? Send them to a coach. Have them call up Dimple. Have them call up Susan Hum. Have them call up Anil. Have them call up somebody, right? But like, don't spend 7 conversations. You're not helping them. And you're definitely not helping yourself. And you're definitely helping all the people relying upon you as you squander your time. Don't love people, support people, but don't give your time and energy in ways that are suboptimal to create the max level of impact you need to have, first for your heart, your life, then your family and all those people around you, for God, as you see it first, actually, right? Or God, the universe, whatever it is for you, your higher power, right? Make sure that it makes sense. And it's so easy to get pulled in, like by loving people and empathy and having weak boundaries. And I am like the poster child for this, right? But let's support each other in making sure we're creating max acceleration and we're spending our time and our energy on what matters and where it should be. Have a beautiful day. Happy Y Wednesday.